everyone, I'm Susan with Pigtail Quilting and Stitching. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm in La Jolla visiting my son, and it's a beautiful day outside here, and the waves are really big. It's kind of a high surf warning, but it is sure fun to go down and watch these big waves come crashing into the rocks. But in this video, you're going to see a little bit of clips from a museum that my son and I went to in Los Angeles for a 2-day trip, and then along with the Broad Museum, which is a really beautiful museum. And then I'm going to take you and show you some of the stools that I have made for my son, who is a pastor in a church here in La Jolla, and I have made him many stools when he wears his robe, and I'll kind of show you and explain those a little bit later. But then I'm going to also show you some pictures of some things that I have made and donated for children down in the San Diego area. My son has been here 4 years, and a couple of the times on my trips I have sent down some things I have made, little baskets of books and pillowcases, and some bears with little quilts also. I'm going to show you pictures of those. That was really fun to do, and I know a lot of you quilters, just like me, love to do things like that. And so anyway, hope you come along and watch this video, maybe even subscribe. And I really thank you for all your kind comments. So let's get started. I flew into Burbank and Tim picked me up. Our trip began in Los Angeles. We spent 2 days there, and we began our trip by visiting the immersive Van Gogh exhibit in Hollywood. I highly recommend it. This is an exhibit that is currently in many major cities across the U.S. It allows you to have an immersive experience of the paintings with music and light and color. It was a wonderful way to spend a morning. There's something in his color palette that ought to inspire us quilters. The experience was almost like being enveloped in a quilt made of his paintings.
n'ai plus besoin de balayer les hommes avec leur trémolo, balayer pour toujours. Je repars à zéro. Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien, ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien, car ma vie
Also, I came away with a piece of wisdom that I think suits all of us quilters and stitchers. The beginning is perhaps more difficult than anything else, but keep heart. It will turn out all right. Next, we headed to the Broad, which houses the personal collection of Eli and Edith Broad. It is located in the heart of downtown Los Angeles, across from Disney Concert Hall. We were able to see some of the prized pieces of the collection, which includes Jeff Koons' balloon dog and rabbit sculpture. You can even see how the parts of the collection not on view are stored underneath the gallery space. We then drove 120 miles south to where my son works. The community of La Jolla is located just north of central San Diego, and it is a beach community with miles of prized coastline, which is treasured by surfers, seals, and sea lions alike. The many shades of blue of the ocean and the sky inspired a calm and tranquility that I wish I could share with each of you. So here I am in my son's office, and I wanted to show you some of the stools that I've made for his robe. Like I said, he is a pastor of a church here in La Jolla, and the one you see on his robe is one I made when he was ordained, and that typical color is red. So I'm just going to show you a little close-up of that. And I also made I made this out of batiks, which is kind of unusual for me because normally I do my reproduction quilts. But for him, I've done different fabrics of batiks, some cave facet he likes. And then I also made some for the table at the altar. And these are just on his desk in his office, but normally these go out into the sanctuary. So I'll just briefly show you these, and then we'll move on to some of the different kinds of stools. And this was just also some red batiks that I did to match the stool that he wore around his robe. And that was another smaller one. There was 2 tables. Here is another stool that I've made, and I used a little bit of a different pattern on this one. And so what I typically done, I know a lot of stools, and he has some too that are just made of a solid piece of fabric. But this one I did is actually just like a quilt, and so was the red one I showed you previously. But they're made, and then I measured for his height. And then I have a pattern that I also made out of paper, and then when I cut it out and make the neck so it kind of lays closer in the back, it kind of dips in, you can kind of see. And then I always use bias binding around it because it is on a curve. And I guess you could say, I guess these are reversible. You could see that some are, but usually he doesn't. On some of the children's ones, I made him a few children's ones when he does like a children's sermon, then he can work with the children that are kind of fun fabrics on those. So I'll just show you these. And this one was also in batiks. Here is another one. It's kind of a little brighter and kind of colorful. My son has done an extensive amount of traveling, and so a lot of times he's brought fabric back from his travels that he's done. And I think I made this one after he returned from Africa, I believe. But I've had them, and then I've made several of these, and I've had them machine quilted, and it's really been kind of fun to work on them and make different ones for the liturgical seasons, or just for something that was special for him. Here's another one. This is a K facet fabric, and this was several years ago, and had the little colorful houses. And this was, I think I made this also after he got back from one of his trips. I think it was in Central America, I believe. And here is some other ones I've made, and I believe these are all batiks, but instead of showing them one by one, I just thought I'd lay them out so you can kind of see the different fabrics that I've used and the colors. And I've made some other ones for some other pastors that he knew in seminary, and when they were ordained, I also made a few of those for his gift for his friends that he went to seminary with that are now pastors. kind of got stuck on this pattern. It was kind of fun to make and pretty easy. Maybe I can show you some of that. This is the one with the little kids one that has some monkeys on it. So children always like to see. This has another batik. And let's see what this one has. This one does as well. And these were all machine quilted also. And they have batting in them too. They're all with pretty flat, like warm and natural type batting, so it lays pretty flat and holds their shape. So here are two more, kind of in the color of the cream and the pale beige. And there's, can you see it up there? Some of those. Here are two that are really quite bright, but they have like a New York skyscraper scene on them. And they're both different. They're similar, but the coloring is different and the scenes of buildings are different. And I think on this one, I think Cafe is on the back. I believe on this one has fabric that kind of goes with what's on the neckline of it, of the same coordinating companion fabric. This last stole is one that my son brought back the fabric from Colombia when he was traveling there, and I took the fabric that he brought back and just made a whole cloth quilted stole out of that. Pretty bright. And it's the same on both sides. This little wall hanging I made, I brought it down to him so he could hang it in his office. I just took it down so I could show you it. But these were like a little pattern that had the silhouette already cut out and very simple, and you just fuse it on the back of another fabric. And then I just used this jute twine to make a little hanger out of it, and the back of it is batiks.
A few years ago, I made bears and quilts for a local San Diego charity for children. I wanted to show you some of the bears and quilts I made to accompany them, as well as a very aptly themed fish baskets that reflected the local flavor.
USS Midway, a decommissioned aircraft carrier which is now an interactive museum in San Diego Harbor. The USS Midway was home to 4,000 men at one time who would be at sea for 9 to 12 months in locations all across the world. The ship is essentially a floating city with a barber shop, its own operating room, hospital, post office, and several dining halls. So I hope you enjoyed this video and a little look into my trip to La Jolla, California to visit my son and some of the fun places we went to. And a special treat today, my son took me to the Midway, which is a retired aircraft carrier in a museum. So that was also fun. But thanks for watching, and I hope you like and subscribe.